Hello friends, in this tutorial, I am going to teach you how to model the Canon model charger along with its battery. Well, to start, we first go to the mode menu and select the view setting option from there. Then from the back section, we go to the folder that our reference is in and select it. We can adjust the transparency of the reference photo with the transparency settings so that we can better see the lines that we make to create the polygons. I start with a square and give it the desired dimensions from the Object tab. After that, I can do the same for the left and right view. By creating a new line, I divide the model into two parts. Then I delete the front part and close it with the Close Polygon Hole tool. Then using the Loop Path Cut tool, I create a new line in the desired place. You can move the desired line up or down by pressing M and then O. After doing this, I select the front part of the model in polygon mode. And after that, easily by pressing the D key and dragging, click, and move it, I direct it to the front and develop the model. By creating new lines, I can replace the lights of the charger. By referring to the reference, we realize that there is an empty space behind the charger, which is the location of the plug. To create it, I can start with a square. I bring it to the right position and adjust it according to the reference. After that, I divide it in two parts in the middle and select the places you see and use the bevel tool to convert those two lines into two curves. Note that by setting the subdivision option and changing its amount, you can reach the amount of curve you want. Then I very easily use the bool tool and place the model and square on its subset. As you can see, we easily created a clean blank space, but this space needs a new change to be similar to our reference. In fact, it is a rectangle at the bottom of it. Therefore, I select the lower part of the model in polygon mode and add it by pressing the D key. Just be careful to keep the Create Caps option turned off. Otherwise, you will create a series of extra polygons which will cause problems for you later. As you can see, we were able to easily create a new area by right-clicking on the layer and choosing Connect Objects Delete option. I convert all layers into one so that I can edit it. I call it Front and take a copy of it and name that one back. Now select each of the layers separately, then select the opposite area with the Select Rectangle tool in polygon mode according to the name you gave for the layer. Exactly in the middle, and then press the delete key. For example, if you choose the front layer, erase the back half and do the opposite for the next layer. This way I have two different layers, one for the front and one for the back. This actually gives you the possibility that if you create new polygon lines in one part, it will not affect the other part. With this method, you can model more easily and the volume of your connections is reduced.
At the time of combining the layers together or creating them, we may see the creation of additional points or lines. To make them one, we will solve this problem by selecting common places and pressing right-click and choosing Stitch and Sew option for lines and Weld option for points. Using the Cut tool, I connect the points and create a quadrilateral model. The blue dots in the selection are extra points that I can easily select and delete. We erase the extra lines with dissolve. In this way, we select them in edge mode and then right click and dissolve. After that, we make the desired connections with the cut tool so that the polygons have a quadrilateral property. This is very important because it is one of the most standard and fundamental methods for modeling. By observing this point, you have an easier unwrap and texturing process. I draw some new lines behind to create detail. After that, I make a new square and curve the mentioned parts with the bevel tool. And after that, with the cut tool, I make the desired connections to follow the law of quadrilateral polygons. I will bring it to its natural dimensions to match the reference. I select its front part, and by selecting the inset option, I create an interior environment and connect it using the cut tool. Then I use the inset option again. Then I put that environment in the right place. With this, I can easily create a space for the circular part to be placed inside. Then by selecting the fit circle option, I can convert that quadrilateral part into a circle. This is one of the simple and interesting ways to create circles. Now I push the circle inside. I know you've noticed by now the shortcut is the D key. I will reestablish the connections that were not established. This may take a lot of time, but you should know that modeling is a very time consuming and challenging process. So be patient. First, I make the base part of the socket. I make a square around the bottom and take one part inside according to the reference. I create new connections with the loop path cut tool and direct the front part inside according to my reference. Well, to create the sockets, I create a new square and try to make it since there is a hole above the socket, I use two new lines and select that area from the front and back. Then I guide it inside using the inset option to make that space smaller. Then I create 2 lines in the middle horizontally and vertically, and by pressing the shortcut keys U and then C, I convert it into this form. You can find the same operation called collapse in the right-click menu. I select the 2 middle points of the front and back in point mode and use the bevel option to create a clean circle. Pay attention that the amount of subdivision in the settings section for this mode must be set to 0. I will delete those 2 polygons. Then I can go to the select menu in edge mode and select the loop selection and select the 2 circle bars. Then I will connect those 2 areas with a right click and select the bridge option. Now I want to sharpen the upper part a little. I collect it by selecting the upper points. After that, I guide the side parts down. This creates a sharp ridge. Then by adding the bevel deformer, I curve the angles. I change the number of subdivisions to 1 so that the connections are quadrangular by selecting the instance generator. I get a copy of it to transfer the properties of the initial model. With this, I don't need to repeat the same process again, and the difference with copying is that any changes I make in the first case are immediately made in the second case. I select the 4 sides of the charger, and just like the reference, using the bevel tool, I give a curve to the 4 sides. After that, I establish the connections again with the cut tool and convert the terminals into quadrilaterals. This issue may take you a lot of time, but in fact, it is very important to achieve the desired model. You are actually watching a compressed version of this video and consider it very time consuming, and don't think that you are going to get the desired result in 5 or 10 minutes. This is a very challenging issue. After finishing the work, I use the bevel deformer. With this, I will use an automatic curve, and if there is a problem somewhere in my model, I will notice its unusual appearance. For example, something strange happened in this place. Well, when you see that everything is correct and there's no problem with the connections, go to the point mode and select all the points. Then right-click and click the Optimize button. This causes the connections to be rechecked and redundant points that are too close together to be merged. You see such a problem, you can immediately use the inset option and create additional lines in its margin. In this way, you can create a new space for the bevel that does not affect other places. I select the desired internal angles and again give them a curved shape using the bevel option. By selecting bevel tool, they reach new connections and I have to convert them into quadrilaterals and repeat the same problem for different parts. I can select a specific part of the lines. Then go to the select menu and create a tag using the store selection option. Then assign the tag to the bevel settings and watch the selected part change. By creating new lines, I'm trying to create the side edge of the model. With this work, new connections are created that I have to convert into quadrilaterals. I start and check all connections and connect them together. I am trying to make the outer edge by creating a new line. Then by selecting the points, I lead them inside and make the desired edge. Later, I delete the extra parts. After that, I fill the inner environment and erase the extra lines with the dissolve tool. By changing the structure of the polygons, again, select the frames that I like to be curved. I go to the select menu and I make a tag again and attribute it to bevel. If you come across such structures of lines in the modeling process and want to arrange them, just select the lines and right click to select the equal spacing option, and then arrange and align the lines by dragging the mouse. From the new lines, I create a new area for the lamps and select that area in polygon mode. After that, I just need to take a copy of the model and delete the desired part and do the reverse for that one. In this way, I have a model that has as much empty space as the lights, and I have a light that has nothing around it. Now I do the extruding operation on the polygons. I get the bool generator, the lamp and body of the charger. In this way, I have as much free space as the volume of lamp. Now I just need to make a copy of it and create a new lamp. At the same time, I made 2 holes on the body. Now I take a copy of the lamp and put it in the right place. I select the back edge of the model and create a new edge for it with the extrude tool. I also select and delete the parts that have problems. Then I will correct this part by selecting the edges and connecting them together. I have 2 small appendages in the inner part of the model. By selecting the polygons in that area and pressing the D key, I will move them out. After that, I make them small with the scale tool. Next, by creating new lines, I create a sharp edged protrusion on it. I do the same thing on that one. I also have an indentation on the inside where the charger pins are located. By selecting the range I want and selecting it, I push it in, I make a new square and make it editable and adjust it to the dimensions I want. Then with the bevel tool, I round its upper edges according to my reference and connect the polygons to keep its quadrilateral property. Now, by using the clone generator and going to the option and selecting the linear option, I can make their number close to the reference number in the form of a straight line. It means 4. I adjust the distance between the pins and put it in the right place. Let's go to the lamp part again. When I emptied that part with the bool generator, new and useless points were definitely created that I have to delete. The easiest way to understand which points are extra is to go to the mode section and select the modeling option and the mesh checking tab and tick the check mesh section. By doing this, the blue dots are displayed and I can see that these are actually the dots that have no connection and are extra in front of this option. We see an arrow and a number, 125. That means I have 125 extra points. If I click on that arrow, all of them will be selected. I actually need a few of them, so I manually select them. After that, I delete the extra points by pressing the delete button. I make new connections with the line cut tool. Can also make a protrusion for the inner edge of the lamp. Sometimes after we use the bevel and merge it with the layer, we come across new lines that we don't need and may ruin the appearance of our work. So as a result, we have to correct them. I erase the extra lines with the line cut tool and make new lines. Well, it can be said that we are done with the charger model. Now let's go to the battery. I create a new square and give it the desired dimensions according to the reference. Adhering to the reference is one of the key points to reach the natural model. Well, I create the parts I want with the loop path cut tool. I don't need these parts, so I delete them. To fill this hollow part, just select the edge completely. Then close it by right-clicking and selecting the Close Polygon Hole option. Just be careful. In the options section of this tool, set the mode to grid so that the connections are properly tightened. We have an indentation here. So to make it, I make my new lines and erase the desired part and close it again with the same tool as before. In the front part, I have a black box. So I have to clear the space to place it. By creating a new square, I try to make space for the black part above. I direct it to that area and make its dimensions close to the desired dimensions. I use the bool generator for making the hole. That's why I put it in bool and add the model to it. Now like this, I have a cavity. If I have extra lines, I delete them by selecting the dissolve tool. In general, in the discussion of modeling, we have many ways to achieve the desired goal as a result. This may not be the best way, and you can achieve similar results with your own effort and performance, which have better output and consume less time. After that, I start making new connections to reach the quadrilateral polygons. I have a small protrusion at the bottom of the battery. I don't think I need to draw a new line. I just need to place these 2 points to measure the length of the desired area and then pull its sides out. It soften the edges so that we know what to do. I give the bevel deformer to my model to soften the front part a little. Select the loop selection tool in polygon mode, border. I select the middle middle, a model in polygon mode. Then I select the front environment by selecting the fill selection option from the select menu. In fact, this tool selects the space on the other side of the selected location that you drew a border at the beginning. Now I copy the entire model and rename it. Exactly the same process as we did for the charger. I hold the front for one layer and the back for the other. Now I'm trying to fix the polygons that have problems. Um, and by combining the 2 layers to which I gave the bevel deformer, I reach a single model and start to modify the polygons. to make that black environment. I just need to make a square, fix its dimensions, and put it in the right place. Then I will take a copy of it and resize it to the size of the grooves. Inside the square, of course, a little bigger, both from above and from the front. In fact, this is because when we use the Boolean generator, it covers all the parts we want. Never take it exactly to the edge of the model. Always take it a little bigger. Now I will move the square that I chose for the hole into a group. Its shortcut is Alt and G after that. I've used the clone option. I choose the linear mode from the option section and give it the scales I want according to the reference. This way, I have 4 holes. Then I combine them all together and start to modify the bases. I select the upper part and hit the inset option and create an indentation. I do the same for the front part. And then I make the desired connections with the line cut tool if I have a problem somewhere. And there are a few lines. I create new lines using the loop path cut tool. I use a bevel deformer to round the edges a little. In order to make the top of this volume a little sharper, it is enough to give a new line in the middle of all the columns and then easily grab it and pull it up. There are some metal pieces inside these grooves that we made. The easiest and fastest way to make them is to first draw 2 lines equal to their volume, then make a copy of the original layer. Now, in the new copied layer and in polygon mode, we select the desired part with loop selection, and by pressing the U and I keys, we invert the selected space. Then I can easily delete these polygons. Now what remains is the part we want. I have to round the front of these parts a little. I use subdivision surface generator. Next, I go to top view and use the plane cut tool to make a cross section near the edge. Great. Next, I select all the polygons and press the D key to move them out. Be sure to activate the create caps tick in its option to give you a closed box. Well, we are done with the battery. Now I will add it to the charger and adjust its dimensions and put it in the right place. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Know that the modeling process is very enjoyable and challenging at the same time. So practice and practice and practice so that you can achieve the best possible result. According to the tradition of YouTube, if you are interested, hit the subscribe button to give me the strength to continue this work. Good luck.